If you look back historically, the most recent time that Interforce played this map, it was against Kinotrope, and they did lose quite convincingly 7-2. However, just a few days prior, they beat Farthest Back 7-3. So they have some good results, and but also some mishaps. And it's kind of a similar story for CAG as well, right? The most recent time that CAG played Chalet, they got 7-0'd by Scars in the EWC qualifier grand final. And the game before that, that same day, they beat Kinotrope on this map 7-4. So a lot of very different results. Some would argue that this is going to be a good map for both teams. Some would argue not so much. So really it depends on who's worked on what in the last month and a half.
A large disparity and duality between these two teams. Let's see how it goes at 89% for Cyclops and 11 for Interforce. We'll see how they both fare in the server itself on our first map and our first game of the day on Chalet. Dev, Pengu, take it away.
Thank you very much. Pengu, this is 89% to 11%. This is a heavily fan favorite for CAG, but the same case was yesterday when they played against Vitae. Could we see another upset over CAG again?
So I was thinking to myself, not knowing the map V2 actually, where would I go if I was Interforce? And I had two maps in the back of my mind. Now mind you, I don't know that much about their story and how they played last stage. I wasn't here, I didn't actually watch this league. I was thinking Chalet and Nighthaven Labs if they had been cooking a bit in the offseason with Labs perhaps. And the only issue I have with Labs being good for Interforce is that, likewise, I think it's a great map for CAG. But I think it might favor Interforce simply because it doesn't rely so much on the strategical depth of a team, more so in like fundamentals and basics, right? Droning, entering, trading off each other, and just also playing a more simple map, so to speak. Last time these two teams played each other in stage 1, it was that clubhouse like we saw in the head-to-head. It was a 7-1 victory for CAG. It's all about knowing how to play the game at a very high level strategically. That didn't work for Interforce, so I like this switch up, but we have to see all the 5 players actually working together, especially Take, to really see them challenge it.
Look, we hate to single out players, but Take is worth talking about because of the abysmal performance we saw yesterday. I think it was 1 frag for the majority of the game, then he got a team kill. I don't know how many kills he ended up in, but we definitely pointed the finger very much at Take yesterday, having a struggle of a performance in their match.
Oh, that's a down. Gotta crawl away here. Blackbear finds himself shot by the Kali. That sniper, from even far away, can still do a bunch of damage, but I don't think they can do quite any follow-up here. There used to be a time where nades were played rather so commonly, 2-4 nades every single round. This one, there are 2 in Pockets of Vanish, 1 being tossed out already. I'm spending a lot of time right now just running out the wall, seeing the jammers, to see the player of Blackberry was injured but now brought back to life. And it's been a slow start for E36 or Interforce, but it's okay for now.
This solar take is always a little bit finicky. It's hard to actually repel inside knowing there's so many crossfires. You have to cover it off and hopefully find a few picks before you look for that execute. Now, there was temptation for a run out there from Anaton. I'm not sure he actually jumped out and went for it. I don't think he did. I didn't see the reveal notification. Now the question is, when will E36 look to actually repel on inside?
The issue is no trophy control. They rappel on in, but you said it's difficult, and it very much is, but it's going to be a bit of a battle in the server.
Yeah. Indeed it is, as the crossfires were held quite nicely from CAG. Shiraneko goes aggressive down. You mentioned trophy control was essential, and it was disregarded. Nice closeout from Anaton. And CAG lock in a very convincing opening round.
I mean, it didn't work much for it. Yeah, like, nobody was going downstairs in West Main, nobody was going kitchen dining, didn't take trophy control. So if you want to repel on in, just like Solarium itself, you're going to have to rely on your opponent either making a mistake, or you need to know for a fact they were not playing in those active positions. I like the idea of throwing in some of those gridlock trackers and throw out some smoke grenades and whatnot, but it's not a hard pre-fire on a window rappel in prompt, because players have been playing Chalet for so long, you know where the window frame is going to be, you know where the center of the window is going to be as well. And when you rappel on in, you're always going to be center mass in the window, and that massive sound cue, or even throwing out the smoke grenades, will give you the indication that you are going to go for this now, because without the smoke grenades, it won't work. CAG notably also chose to start defense side, which on Chalet is not all that common. It's tend to be like a you want to be an attack on Chalet, that's the side that is stronger. But I think this is pretty much like a team-by-team specific here. And CAG going defense up against Interforce, who was struggling on their attacks yesterday, makes a lot of sense to me. And they're gonna do this thing where they're not gonna give them anything for free. They have a bit of utility now, like the Mirror, the Deployable Shield, the Clash. Just saying, hey, Interforce, if your problem-solving skills are good, you're gonna have like an okay time in this round. But if not, you will be locked absolutely out just by our sheer operators. And it's funny because that's what VT did to CAG yesterday. So maybe a bit of inspiration there from yesterday's matchup.
Yeah, well, the funny thing here about Chalet for CAG, as you said, going defense first, these guys have played the map 9 times in the last 6 months. This is one of their favorite maps.
Okay.
They picked it a lot. And they have a 92% defense win rate in those 9 matches.
God.
Like, these guys love defending on this map. So it's really Interforce. They have their work cut out for them to look to try and attack onto these bomb sites, which is so heavily fortified.
That's a ridiculous stat line, actually. Like, they're farming on Chalet. That reminds me of like the Eminem back in the day, W7M,
Yeah.
you know, the old roster. Like they were destroying things domestically in their own regions on Chalet, and internationally, nobody would take them there. I recall at some international events as well that people say don't take CAG to Chalet, and then some teams would. They start playing Monty against you, they run you over, and that's kind of where in my mind that CAG were known as like the crazy team, and they started doing those things specifically on this map. So they certainly have the experience. 3 players trend side though. Not sure if they want to go for a rush, which is YouTube clear, but I think I heard the shield being cleared out, and them taking a bit of hype control here, trying to for a breach.
What a creative way to hold on to this position as well. And it seems to work against CAG. Take good pre-fire, finds an early pick onto Chibisu, and that does force the Clash to bring out the gun, and then back onto the shield again for Shurip. He knows about a player close by. Finally to see CAG running a shield op that's not Anderson, but look at Black Ray. He's in the perfect position to swing for a multi-kill here. There's a player prone, but he is being watched. Shurip does eventually find a kill with the Clash and fakes an impact to retreat elsewhere. He might be read here by Take. He does need to be careful because CAG have retaken the advantage here as the numbers are even, and they need to make sure they don't give it away now.
So far, Interforce is struggling because they're just going for these like very direct attacks right now, not taking map control, not roam clearing, and now it's just Take in a 1v1 right now essentially, jumping back out the window, too much pressure for his liking, and he can apply pressure over at the soft wall, but if they don't clear out Trophy, West Main, etc., they will not be able to go for the bomb site and need to go for a rush.
Well, Take is at least firing on all cylinders today. 2 kills in the round. The door is left ajar now for Interforce. As I say that, another individual kill that goes in favor of CAG. Take for a 3k this round. It's all up to Shiraneko now in the 1v2. He's got his position in blue, and he might have just heard that plant start to go down. These 2 players seemingly separated. He doesn't know where that plant has been confirmed, and now one of the players has gone outside the breach. Take low HP. That means Shiraneko just needs to land a single bullet to land this kill. He knows where that player is there, but he's crossfired from outside. Sylvia playing this so well. Take needs to not overswing. This is winnable for Shiraneko, but he needs to land these shots. With Take dancing around, it's becoming so difficult. Eventually, Take locks in the final kill. Big round from him. After we talked a little bit of smack on the desk, he steps up for Interforce.
That's what he definitely needed to do for himself and for all the people watching, because it was such a questionable performance yesterday. And I gotta say, Interforce didn't do the roam clear, didn't take the map control, but they did do something else that actually kind of supplied the same element. They kept rotating back and forth to all these kind of unpredictable positions. They had a sole player walk in the main breach. He died. Then the second player will slow walk towards that same breach 20 seconds later and retake that position. Take, he was trenched. He was inside of Trophy. Then he was going back to main breach. This guy was everywhere. Obviously finding picks every single time, which is a huge steal. But also the other big element to it is that CAG didn't know exactly what was going on. You take that kind of rotation with the fact that Valkyrie is banned, it's very hard for defenders to have accurate information outside of like game audio, game sound, or, you know, visuals. So CAG are forced to swing a lot of angles, and if you just end up having to lose the gunfight, or the person's watching that angle as you swing it, you will just die. So the Clash was excellent, but the Clash died pretty early on. So with that, went the intel, and then afterwards, they just didn't know exactly where the attack was coming from. Really good stuff and good adaptation there from Interforce. But that's on the basement bomb side, where you have a lot of map to work around. Now it's a bar attack instead, where it's a bit more predictable. You gotta either go master bedroom or go for direct library attack, for example. I don't think you have as much freedom to just run around the building on this particular bomb site, so I don't think it'll work here.
What is par for the course here for Enterforce on this first half, considering that this is meant to be a one-sided matchup, considering that they are on what is, in theory, the unfavored side? CAG got to pick sides. Is 2 rounds enough? Is 3 rounds the target?
I think you have to go for broke here. I think you gotta say 3-3-half would be what they have to accomplish, because while CAG has a phenomenal statistics on their defensive side, they also know how to attack on this map. So I don't think that Interforce can rely on just simply being better on one of the 2 sides. I think they have to go even on one and just come out a little bit ahead on the other. And given the fact that they're not supposed to be the winning team on Chalet, at least in my mind, I just think they have to go all the distance. So I think they cannot get enough, basically. 3 rounds, great. 4 rounds, amazing, but practically impossible. But they'll be okay with 2, assuming they're insane on defense.
Well, E36 have already been off to a good start in this round, Nick, because we saw the special drones go on out. The Brava hacked not only the default camera in lobby, but also the bulletproof camera. Now, typically, it's the bulletproof camera's job to use the EMP to protect against the clutch drones. But in this case, CAG were not on it. They were not ready for that. And so lots of information now for E36. They've also used the Roteros to open avenues onto site, clearing out these castle barricades. Now a very aggressive peek from Aniton.
Oh, God.
With the Dokkaebi call ringing out, he needs to be careful not to lose his life. He decides safer to go and retreat.
That could have been the opening pick for Taki, but playing it safe. Instead, Akusu steps up actually on Library Repel. And that's what I mean. They keep appearing across the entirety of the map. Akusu, in fact, was repelling there for like 50 seconds or so with a small slit in the barricade. So he finally gets rewarded for his patience. And by playing that global operator of Dokkaebi, he can afford to play there for so long and still impact the map elsewhere. 40 seconds now. They gotta go. Clear out those shields, stun top blue, walk on in. And we see CAG, they're slowly falling back towards the side, giving up blue staircase, just having one player of Shiraniko inside our library alone.
He has some support in terms of that castle barricade, which does reduce the avenues that he could be swung from. But it is up to Enterforce to make sure they are very thorough and diligent here with this entry. If they don't check the dark corner of library, which
no idea.
Yeah, they are totally clueless right now. This is a game-winning position or a round-winning position from Shiraneko upstairs. 10 seconds to play. He still has control above, and he does make good on it with a big kill onto Yamada. And as Enterforce attempt to enter the site, they will fall one by one. A consolation frag is simply not enough for Sylvia. CAG finally get themselves up and on the board.
I like that. I like to just overstaying your welcome because you have like a good enough numbers, not advantage, but you're playing 4 versus 5. You can completely afford to save one player upstairs. You know, time is running low as well. And that bar bomb side, let's assume that Interforce would take full top floor control. You don't have that many actual playable positions because the hatches and the soft floor above bomb side will just, you know, eliminate a lot of those positions. You can play inside that small stock room, play by the bar, but then you gotta play around the side, like bottom blue staircase, bottom fireplace staircase, which is exactly where CAG they were playing, with that small extra win condition of hiding a player above, because they realized, hey, time is running low, they haven't droned him out yet. Either they drone him and they go, oh snap, there's a guy in this corner, or they don't drone him and he's good for at least 1 and maybe even more. So CAG with problem solving skills is recognizing what kind of mistakes their opponents make and how they can punish it immediately in the server.
I'm liking what we're seeing from CAG now. They're showing that they are playing a little bit more passively. But that said, from Aniton last round, I still felt like he was overpeaking a little bit when he was playing Mezzanine.
Yeah, but that's also kind of what CAG they do, you know, like they, at least, I know they've changed a bit and they're trying to change their style, you know, around a little bit, not play so aggressively perhaps, but I think there's always going to be a part of them deep down where sometimes you gotta go for those crazy plays, sometimes you gotta catch opponent by surprise. It's still like a staple of our kind of playstyle, if you will. I thought this might be a really fast rush through basement off the staircase and just try and take fireplace control, but no, they just simply spawned on the wrong side of the map. They spawned towards the rock, or that mountain position, if you can call it that, instead of library balcony. So they'll spend, you know, the first 20-30 seconds running towards library, open up the windows. Gusu and Kali, close quarter combat here on the windows. Just claim on them for a potential jump out here. It's pretty necessary, but look at the shotgun. This window is prepped. Here's the claymore. Wow. Almost straight blows. Surprised that no one took damage, actually.
What? This is awkward now. He does manage to get out safely, but yeah. Sharif's gone down, and CAG continue to play aggressively here. Look at this peeking outside the windows from Shireneko again. Interforce have decent information, but they haven't really been able to establish a beachhead in the map anywhere. And there is a lot of map to take. You know, Chalet isn't the biggest map out there, but still there is a lot of map that you want to take going onto a kitchen attack.
There is. I mean, for all the bomb sites, to be frank, there's like, you can go for direct rushes, but then you have to really commit, and that's really, you have one shot and that's it, and there's no shield in action right now. Monty's banned, Blitz is up and available if you wanted to. But right now, it's just a stable, good attack here for Interforce. They got like the usual util operators, with the exception of Kali, just like extra added soft destruction and angle holding. They don't have a lot of way to dislodge any of those powerful positions, maybe like by half-wall office or in piano. There's no Grim canisters, there's no Ying, because it's banned out by CAG themselves, so they have to kind of just go for broke here. They have smokes, they have flashbangs, one signal nade, throw out that util, and try and get in deep enough to go for a plan perhaps, but there are two C4s in pocket for CAG that could change the outcome of this round.
Oh, big long angle.
So close.
Kusi does need to land these. We've seen what he's capable of with the Kali yesterday on Consulate, but he needs to land a couple of these shots or at least keep it at bay. But Anderson goes immediately down for the C4, and that does force the Kali now to get amongst it with the diffuser himself. And amidst the chaos, CAG can get aggressive. They knew that this was their moment to strike. So well played. It was Anderson from below in the end. It was own C4 explosion to find the final kill. That was a very well controlled round.
Yeah, it was. That's pretty much CAG baiting in their opponent, saying, hey, you want to go for a default plan? That's great, go for it. You forgot to take kitchen control. And this seems to be the one consistent issue for Interforce, is that they take what they want, which makes sense. You know, their plan is to plant an office, but they also need to take what they need. If you want to plant office default and you look below you, you have to have fireplace control and preferably also a little bit in dining, the current B bomb site, because you can destroy the soft wall right above Chibisu and throw the C4 from inside dining into the soft wall fireplace and take down that plant spot. So it's just a matter of understanding all the variable pieces on the map and the different ways that your opponent can outplay you. You might want to go for a plant as an attacker, that's logical, but the defenders are also expecting you usually to do that exact thing, especially if you're CAG and you're not playing actively inside of office. You know it's a weakness. So either you think CAG, they're a bit silly and they forgot to play office control, or perhaps there's something bigger at play, like they have an answer to your plan.
Yeah, it goes to show that Interforce weren't really able to read that in the moment. I told you it wouldn't take long. We're into the game, and we are into a tactical timeout here for Interforce. Sorely needed, though, Nick, after what has been pretty rough start to this match.
Yeah, and I quite like this, actually. I think there's a big debate in general going around when you should take your tactical timeout, because each team only gets one per map. We often see a team being down, you know, on match point. So, like, let's say they're down like 3-6 or maybe even a 3-5. And then they call a tactical timeout. They have no real time to make any real impactful changes long term. They gotta call that timeout, they gotta go perfect, or otherwise it's over. So I like this idea. If you're down 1 and 3, you still got both your halves to play out. Right now you got 2 attacks for Interforce, you have possibly all your defenses left as well, of course. So now you can work on the long term, the short term, and just both angles right now. It could also be a mental thing. Guys, like we're playing scared, or hey, we actually talked about the prep work, don't forget that we gotta do these specific things, like playing a certain way, for example. There are so many good things that can come from a tactical timeout. And there was a statistic at, I think it was SI23, where someone tracked the performances of teams after the coach took a tactical timeout. And it's hard to get like any real measure out of that, but it was funny seeing how some teams had like an 85% win rate on the following round after the coach called for it, because it can just be sometimes that impactful.
Yeah. Well, this is a telling round not only for that reason, but also for the fact that this is Kitchen. And we haven't seen this bomb site played yet by CAG. If they win this, then they've demonstrated they can win all 3 bomb sites that they need to. If they fail here, then they have to make the decision, do we go back downstairs? Do we try and retake here in a future round? because obviously Library looked great, and Master they've won twice now. So this feels like a big round for me. Enterforce need to make sure that they make good on this tactical timeout, because that's the only one they're going to get. And already it's off to a pretty poor start, with Shurip going for a huge run out on the Oryx all the way from downtown in Wine Cellar.
He started spawn peeking on the bar gaming window, runs to basement, runs side, and aggressive instead. Like, I like this a lot because CAG, they tend to have, similar to Scars actually, they have what I call a oh god, that is disgusting. He started on a window, goes basement, goes back to window, finds 2 picks. He is single-handedly right now just running a ring around Interforce. But I love this because they're playing a 4+1 strat. They have 4 actual players playing together. Shirnigo, Chibisu, Blackgren, Anaton. They're playing the strat on paper. Then you have Shuri playing Oryx, just kind of running around. And he is literally finding every single kill so far, just roaming the building.
Yeah, wow. Desperate now for Take, but he's already found his first. We've seen him get a 4K earlier in this match, and he almost secures a kill here, but still, he loses the battle in terms of HP, and Shibusu does finish him off all up to Akasu. Nice double! 2 more to find. This is winnable for him, and this would be a huge morale booster if he's able to pull it off.
He has so much time. A Dokkaebi phone call can possibly hack the cams if not done already. So, a lot of options here. Here comes the call, though. I'm basically going to go for this. 2v1. Guman in... Oh, that's bad, actually. Gotta pull it out.
But he's got the audio cue as well on where the other players are, thanks to that Dokkaebi call. And these lines of sight are a little bit different, but he's got a mirror to face. And he doesn't have any utility to deal with it, but he does pre-fire through the mirror, perfectly read. 1 versus 1 now, but he swings a little bit too wide. This is a dance with death. On the other side, Shurip, who opened the equation for CAG, is just waiting patiently. Does he swing? He does. With the Bailiff, no less. A good closeout for CAG. A round that was perhaps a little bit too close for comfort, but a round win nonetheless.
And Shurip gets 4 kills at Oryx, just running around. I love it, and it worked out so excellently, but CAG, you can see there, they got a little bit too cocky, I want to say. Nobody playing the trading game, happily going for individual 1 versus 1s, and I think that's one of the things that naturally happens when you have an individual player just carry the early stage of a round. You think to yourself, hey, this round is over, this round is done, there is no way they can win now. And we're gonna see a montage clip here from Shu. That's 1, that's 2, here comes the 3rd in a moment. Or actually no, that's Shibisu. But he was farming.
Yeah, that was a good round from him. Also, it just goes to show, like, how he's not playing scared in that 1v1. Like, put yourself in his shoes, right? You've had quite a significant advantage. It was a 4 versus 1, and then Akasu brings it back to a 1 versus 1, and this dude is still swinging it with the Bailiff.
I know that I wouldn't trust that secondary pistol for my life, that's for sure. But the thing is, I'm not
that's
a
why you're not a
player
player anymore, bro.
Oh, that's why I'm not a player anymore? I don't trust a Bailiff secondary shotgun? I mean, I'll take that over so many other worse outcomes, okay? It's, I'm just not a gambling man. I like my bullets that go straight lines, not those 7 pellet, sometimes lucky, sometimes not situation, because, like Kino, over in North America, he can one-shot anybody with the smoke shotgun from any distance. Me, however, point blank, I will miss somehow. I'm just not lucky.
Which is funny because you were a prolific smoke player, and yet you don't like shotguns.
And I don't like the SMG11 either.
What?
I played a role, because, you know, back in the day, you didn't have all these secondary shotguns, so you needed a smoke mute or a mirror every single round for site construction, just making rotations and holes, etc. But nowadays, look at the current CAG lineup. You have 5 shotguns. Frost, Castle, Mira, Fenrir all have secondary shotguns. And Mute has a primary shotgun. If that was a game back in the early days of Siege, you had a Mute shotgun and a Mira shotgun, that was it. So that's one of the big things for defense that's changed over the years, whereas you don't have your quote-unquote shotgun players anymore because they're just so commonly available.
Little blast from the past. It's funny how the loadout changes really change the skills required from players as well. SMG11 skills not quite as important as they used to be. Here's some good information though from the Hibana. That drone does spot out that mirror position. This is a very well fortified top floor with the mirrors and the deployable shields. It's going to be a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, I like the lineup though. The Grim coming out, the Flores. Gridlock has those grenades as well on top of it, so they have tons of soft destruction. I like Interforce. They're taking it slow. Don't want to lose the bodies early. What a great bait there. Droning out Shurip. He stands up to look for it because it was a flourish, I believe. And then just like get the injure and then confirm the flourish maybe unless we jammed. Not entirely sure. I think I've jammed out actually. Who's who found Shiro Nico? Those are things that like very quickly here starting to build up for Interforce. Jammed.
Still not control that they were looking for as of yet, even though they found the pick and some damage. The revive came through onto Shurip, and he can still hold on to his position, also being the Fenrir. He can reactivate with his gadgets, the Dread Mines. Long angle, he loses that fight against Anaton. Actually, no, they trade each other directly, so that's not the worst outcome for E36. If we can see a jump in here from Take, he's a little bit worried about being pushed. Up goes the tracks. 30 seconds to play with, and this is very winnable, especially considering Shuripa's low HP. There's a little bit of util to work with. A frag grenade from Yamada as he goes and picks up that diffuser. And still that castle barricade up does restrict options here. They need to use it to their advantage. It looks like a double drop is on the cards, Pengu. This is going to be hugely risky, but they're going to make it work anyway. The 3 flashes from Take will be hugely useful. First goes down, the second, a nade to go through. This castle barricade may protect them, but Shibisu and Shurip come in to mop them up. Good closeout from CAG. A nice attempt there from the attack, but the drop was not going to work.
And this is where I feel like Interforce, they lack their fast pace and slow pace kind of, you know, 1-2 punch. Because they got the injure down, and they got the opening pick. And then they sat still for like what felt like half the round, but it was probably more like 30-40 seconds. But my point is, when you're down the blue staircase player, and you get a kill elsewhere, what's stopping you from just jumping in the windows, pushing up the hallway, and taking control? Because instead they wait so long, the revive comes in on blue staircase, CAG gets to reposition, and then all of a sudden, it's actually you who start to lose players on the attacking side, back down to 4 versus 4. I feel like sometimes, especially when you're down 1-4, 1-5 right now, you have to just full send it and just see what happens. Because otherwise, you're gonna get the same outcome as previously, a round loss, but it's gonna be a slow struggle instead of a quick successful one perhaps. So I want to see that pace change. That can't happen anymore. Interforce are now on defense. They can set up their structure, they can set up their mirror windows, their banshees from Melusi, etc. Because now CAG, they will show us how they're gonna attack, and I imagine they'll be a lot more precise in how they want to approach it, but also with that a lot more aggressive on their takes when they need to be.
Well, at the Switch, what are we going to see, Nick? Are we going to see E36 come back now? We said that 2 rounds, yeah, maybe that'll be enough. Originally, we said 3 rounds of attack is ideal, and now they found 1.
I think it's just gonna continue kind of snowballing. I mean, sure, it's not over for them. They might get a round or 2, etc., but they have to show a very different performance that of attack to actually turn this one around. And look at CAG's lineup. I mean, Deimos, Finga, they want to fight you. They want to hunt you down. They want the best guns for that job. But they still bring utility. Double Heartbreach in case one of them were to die. And, of course, Anaton, who's been playing a fair bit of Capital both yesterday and today as well. So they have the options to clear any of this in different kinds of ways. The first 60 seconds is to get inside the building. Soft destruction, verticality, Deimos trackers. This is a much more dynamic attack already from CAG and that of Interforce. That's
Look
genius.
at that nade!
That's
Bro,
genius.
that's so cool. The Vendetta is so much destruction, so it can open up the floorboards. You toss the nade through the floorboards and pinch with Shiraneko. Like, that is beautiful. You got vertical potential, vertical nades despite the nade change. You've got the pressure from the ace to open up the hard wall, and you've got multiple avenues to pinch these players. You are right. CAG is hunting Interforce down, and it is working right now. Poor Akusu is in a world of pain. His position revealed. He goes for it. He drops down. And he walks into 2 players. Chibisu takes him on down. Doesn't matter that the Deimos can't finish the job. He's got a teammate for it. Now Sylvia's looking desperate. It's just him and Take left in the 2 versus 5. And it looks like 2v5 is what the scoreline may reflect in a brief moment as CAG are just looking to run them over. 1 versus 5 for Sylvia. He can find the first one, but he's likely to be swung time and time again. Black Ray finishes him off. What a round for CAG. Utter dominance in their opening attack.
And that went pretty much as one would expect. That's a team that knows how to play Chile. There's a team that have a more, I guess, current meta way to deal with the problems, because it feels like Interforce, They're playing Siege in like 2019, whereas CAG play much more present 2023, 2024 styles. And what I mean by that is simply how simply or how dynamically you want to approach something. It was not all that uncommon for teams to just simply walk into, library, go to master bedroom, breach the master bedroom wall, or office wall, sorry, and then plant inside of office, like Interforce were trying to do. But look at how CAG attacked that. It's bar verticality from Deimos with the nades. They go up 2 guys blue staircase to isolate, while they also jump in library, and have a guy on office balcony cutting off the rotations. If you're Interforce, you feel like you have 0 way back into that round, and there is so much pressure from every single location. And while that's also happening, you have to respect and consider, what if CAG did flank Solarium staircase? You can't just leave area unguarded, because if you do, CAG might just rush it and take it as well. So you're spread super thin on defense, and like the only real thing you can do is to win your gunfights and set up those crossfires. Interforce didn't really do that in the very first round, and they absolutely suffered the consequences.
Yeah, and this has proven to be a really quick game. Interforce starting to get a little bit manhandled. CAG have really found their confidence, and how sorely needed is this? After such a shocking day yesterday, losing to Vitae, CAG, their confidence must have been rattled. In the off-season, these guys have actually looked really good. They haven't lost many games. They did end up losing the EWC qualifiers, but it was to Scars, and they still got a map off of them. So that's more than fine. Like, we can accept that. Here, CAG, like, look at all the work the Brava's done. It's just forced Sylvia to destroy 2 of his own pieces of utility in the Brava, because of the Brava, right? And here's another Banshee from Malusi getting hacked as well. Like, Shurip's done a world of work with that operator. And it's E36 who really need to step up now.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta hold on and start off just on their, player position, see what they actually want to accomplish in this round. But we saw CAG have, Shurip just being completely enabled to do his own thing, run outs, go for aggressive swings. That could be someone like Sylvia that we saw yesterday in Consulate. He was going for flanks, he was going for aggressive peaks, etc. Right now, Sylvia is not all that present in the server. I want to see more from him, but they're down 1 and 6. There's not that much time left, and this default cam is staying alive. Come on, Nico. Try and get it done. Akushi takes down Shurip. Good start for Interforce. Try and keep this manpower advantage. Play the numbers. Play the 5 versus 4. They might be good for 1 defense round.
They got the advantage for now. I wouldn't put it against CAG to bring it back, and there you go. Yamada goes down. Black Ray is in position with the Capitao here on the balcony as well. The perfect operator to do so. Out goes some EMPs to clear out any magnets, clear out any ADSs. Black Ray is ready to swing here as the Bs have gone out. It does force Take down to blue stairs. There's no one to meet him as of yet. Actually, Sylvia is watching for that flank as well. Here comes the eruption on the top floor from CAG. Now they can really put the pressure on the bomb site. Vertically, these Roteros will come on through. Is that going to be for Vert? Indeed it is. It's going to open up quite a few avenues. 45 seconds to play, and CAG have a great position.
There's 2 smokes in pocket of the Capitals of Anaton, 2 Bs as well from Chibisu, so they have util for side. That's a big thing right here. They use half it early round, they have the second half for execute itself. And in a 4 versus 4, this is super winnable. Actually, I think favorable slightly for CAG. Only downside, Anaton, low on HP, they're smoking, they're flashing, and they're about to go.
There needs to be some teeth that comes with this execute. They can't just rely on forcing a plant down. Shiraneko coming in for the backstab from the other side. But it looks like Take on the blue stairs has not been addressed. Eventually traded on back. 2v2 now as Vanish will not give up. It is all up to him now, but Chibisu finds the final 2 picks, and CAG get their first points on the scoreboard here in the Japan League. It took them 2 play days, but finally the boys are back in action.
Oh, do we have to go back and talk about the map viewer base and go, what was Interforce thinking going to Chalet against CAG? Because this is not just a team that is good, this is, as you put it, a 90+ win rate on defense where CAG could also start because they had the starting side options. This was a very one-sided match, but also showed us just how good CAG can be after a disappointing first play day yesterday.
That's right. I mean, they didn't even get any points out of their Vitae match. Only won 3 rounds, and they dominated here against Interforce. A confidence booster that they sorely needed after such a slow start. And, of course, we will break down that game after this break.